Quedan 22 segundos, Mario, para que empiece la weá.
20. Estaban hace unos 5 minutos partieron con estos quiz. Haciendo la previa.
¿Ya?
Creo que he fallado casi todos los quiz que han hecho hasta ahora. Me fue re mal.
Una callampa en el Lord de Innistrad.
Ready to do this?
It is time to become what you fear, Jimmy.
Yeah?
Let's go.
What do you mean? That's weird. Just an interesting thing to say.
And here we have Maris Mullally, the narrative design manager at
Yes,
Wizards.
back to Innistrad. Our first time we were there, 2011, a whole decade ago. It's been
2010 más
5
uno,
years
¿verdad?
since
Sí,
the last
caleta
time we
tiempo.
visited Innistrad, at least in our
La primera vez que estuvimos en
our
Innistrad.
world.
I mean, that's a lot of time past. What's
Yes.
been going on in Innistrad
10 años
since
atrás. po.
Since we last were there, the Eldrazi are gone, but it's still a pretty dangerous place for humans. Innistrad in general is just
Lol,
built around gothic horror themes, so there's darkness, there's the creepy, ominous shadows, and all of the creatures that hide in those shadows.
Like, what's new this time?
Part of it was we went old. Like we had the Eldrazi in the last time we visited Innistrad, but this time we said, okay, we want to go full back. What are the core themes of original Innistrad? Werewolves, ghouls, zombies, but we wanted to add a bit of kind of charm and flavor and remind everybody that while humans are delicious and the bottom of the food chain, they are also resilient and they've been all about survival. So we've got a big centerpiece of Midnight Hunt, which is the Harvest Tide. And it's a place where some of the humans, a coven of witches, have come to kind of try to help the humans because, you know, when you mess with the moon, it starts really messing around with your day-night cycle and things are getting
Dicen,
dark.
ahora como que los
Chances
brujos
that
están
the
ayudando a
humans
los
have to kind of
humanos.
survive is getting harder. Longer nights, shorter days. It's time for
Como no está la vacina.
Dawnheart Coven to try
Sí,
to...
pues, las noches son más
Okay,
largas.
so the moon has been messed with. Consequences are happening.
Yes.
What are the other things that were really important when you guys came back to Innistrad that you thought we had to keep these, we have to focus on these?
Well, we have to keep things like vampires and werewolves.
Hay que
And
mantener
for
los
Midnight
vampiros,
Hunt,
hombres
we decided
lobo.
to just focus, like, werewolves were the heart of it.
Gotcha.
You know,
Wait, what do you mean? What's the, what are you so happy about?
I just mean, you know, people like werewolves, you know, they're popular. People
Yes.
¿Por qué estás tan
They're
feliz?
exciting,
Porque los lobos son
fierce,
populares, la gente le gusta.
handsome, strong.
Interesting. A lot of comments. Okay, well, focusing back on the set
Right.
here, I feel like the inhabitants of Innistrad, right? You said whimsy. Does that mean
Yes.
that they're gonna have a party?
we haven't had a chance to ever show humans on Innistrad having a party. It's time for them to show off that they've got a little bit of lightheartedness, they have hope, they have come together.
Claro, va a
they
mostrar
will
como
face the darkness
los humanos en
together.
festivales,
What
¿cachai?
kind
De
of
la
characters
cosecha.
can we expect to see in the set?
Well, the primary folks at the Harvest Tide are the humans, but Innistrad is also home to werewolves,
Están todas las tribus que van a
vampires,
aparecer en la
geist,
edición.
zombies, and oh my gosh,
Warlock.
Humanos,
Warlocks.
vampiros, zombies,
who are
hombres
also kind
lobos,
of humans.
brujos,
The
los warlocks.
are a subgroup of humans. Yeah,
So the humans have started figuring out how to.
they're the magical
Son las
humans.
mismas que estaban en Innistrad anterior, ¿o no, Manuel?
Claro, más,
Hay
los
algo
nuevos son los warlocks,
Well, you
¿cachai?
know me, I'm a visual learner. Can we see some of this amazing art?
Hay espíritu era el
Yes.
otro que alcanza.
Yes, let's start with the werewolves. Let's start with the like.
Vamos,
creative,
hombre
exciting
lobo.
parts of
Quiero mi
Midnight
leyenda, mi
Hunt.
comandante.
Oh wow! Look at
Wow.
this.
There are more werewolf attacks.
Werewolf.
happening. People in Kessig are going missing.
Tan
There
brígidos
is
estos
rumor
dibujos.
of
Cacha,
a new
weón.
hell pack
Qué
that
bacán.
has kind of started forming and is growing rapidly. And
Los artes están muy
as the
buenos,
nights
weón.
get
Están
longer,
genialísimos.
yeah, it's just perfect for them. Their hunting time expands.
Well, it looks like there's a pumpkin being ripped apart. The werewolves are just kind of trashing the Harvest Tide Festival. Is that right? The party
They
they've
don't like
invaded
the
the party.
decor. They don't like the decor. I
They
mean,
weren't invited to the party.
Los hombres lobos nos invitaron a la fiesta y por eso están
you make a
enojados
fair
rompiendo
point.
todo.
They probably weren't invited to the party.
There are other things happening. Humans are fighting on the front lines. As it appears like the warlocks are doing a lot here as
They
well.
are. Like humans on Innistrad, they are all about survival. It's hard being the bottom of the food chain.
Que
but
explica
they are
cómo los humanos están al fondo de la
Some of them
cadena
have taken
alimenticia,
up
los
arms,
warlocks
and
como
soldiers
que
of
los
Templars to
defienden.
fight back the forces of night. Some used to follow Avacyn, but now that she's gone, they've taken other paths.
Quedaron huerfanitos
And
todos
some
esos
are
seguidores de
Pero
Avacyn.
todo debido a la
magic
caída de
of
Avacyn,
the
po.
past,
Sí.
Eso era
the covens and the
en
head
el
witches
anterior.
and warlocks.
Well, and they always say you have to know your enemies. Werewolves are not fans of vampires. Where do the vampires play into all of this?
So the vampires, they're present, but they're kind of hanging back and watching what the werewolves are doing. They are interested in this
vampiritos.
long night. They are interested in the growing despair that the humans are feeling. but they're gonna let the werewolves do the work right now. We'll definitely see a lot more of those vampires in our next set of Crimson Vow.
Claro, el próximo set saldrán más vampiritos. Aquí
Now, how
están
about the
como
zombies? This is one of my favorite
espectadores,
creatures of all
dice.
time.
Yes, I've got someone for
Tiene una
you.
trampa de oso en el
Meet
hombro.
Wilhelt, the Rock Cleaver. So Wilhelt the Rock
Siempre que
Cleaver
otro
is
zombie
one
que
of our new
controlas muere,
commanders, and
si no,
this
Decayed.
person
Decayed es una palabra nueva.
zombie mechanics, Decay.
Me dejó leer toda la carta. Ahí sí.
It can't block. When it attacks,
No puede
sacrifice it
bloquear y
in
cuando
combat.
ataca, sacrifica al final del combate.
Okay, hordes of decaying
Son como
zombies.
fichas momentáneas para el puro combate.
Not for me. I am not a zombie guy.
No?
Nah.
You're
¿Cachaste?
not a fan of zombies. How do you feel about
Sí,
ethereal
sí, sí, lo caché.
spirits
Ahora
and
es
grave
que gracias a que estoy más adelantado que tú.
Okay.
Te estaba mostrando una nueva mecánica
So we've
blanca
got-
que es
we've
Disturb.
got our geist, we've got our
Ay,
spirits.
calmado.
This is
Disturb la carroza.
Beggar, and
Tú
what
puedes
Beggar
lanzar
is
esta carta
featuring
en tu
one of the new
cementerio
mechanics
transformada.
for Midnight Hunt, which is called Disturb.
Disturb. You may cast this card from your
Claro.
graveyard transformed for its disturb cost.
Transformations on Innistrad are pretty common, from humans to werewolves, the dead to becoming the undead, or in this case, a spirit. And when you pay the disturb cost of Beloved Beggar, you can come back from your
Nosotros podríais
graveyard
ponerle
as, in this case,
pausa por un par de
Beggar's soul,
segundos
who's going
tu
to protect the
stream y nos
village
ponemos.
in his afterlife rather than going along
Yo estoy viendo
with
Pilogy y
sleep.
pegar ahora.
Ah, I love that
Yeah.
mechanic. That's
Yeah.
great. So they actually come out of the graveyard.
La que tiene disturbo, ¿no?
into
Sí,
this
están
new
explicando eso.
ethereal form.
Creo que son como 2 o 3 segundos que estamos estoy adelantado tú.
Some to help the humans. I'm sure not all of them are here to help the humans. Some might actually be around to help
Ahora deberíamos estar casi a la
the
par.
vampires.
Well, I love the transform mechanic, and I feel like
Entonces ahora
with these two sets,
transformamos
it has
desde el
to find
cementerio al
parts
juego y a la
to make
carta
the
flipeada.
deck happen, so that's pretty cool.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right, well, this has been an amazing look at the plane and the creatures of Midnight Hunt. But now the story revolves around the Harvesttide Festival, which we're all
Yes.
in the middle of here. What's this festival all about?
The Harvesttide is a week-long event.
Un
At the center of the
evento de una
event
semana.
is a ritual that involves the Celestis, where the Dawnheart Coven is pretty sure that the moon and the Eldrazi in the moon is the reason that we're having this imbalance with our day and night. So they want to do a ritual that will fix that. And this is a time to connect with the woods, connect with the other humans.
Why would you have a festival in the middle of a werewolf plague?
Why not?
Well, it's also where the
No, yeah.
Celestis is. But you know, we've got magic up. We've got
Están todos los hombres lobos enojados porque no lo invitaron a la fiesta. Los dejaron aparte haciendo
Werewolves are angry.
sin
Why are they throwing
hacer
a
que
party
está haciendo
in
un
the middle of their
asado.
woods?
in
Sí,
their
porque
backyard.
al
Sí, ya se
encerrar
I
Patio.
mean, come on, this is like,
al
you're
encerrar a
sitting
hembra
down
con
the
la
barbecue in
luna,
my
¿cachai?
backyard,
Como que
and you didn't invite me.
produjo
I'm so
disturbio en el
sorry when
plano.
that happened. I really didn't.
Y están tratando de usar estas fiestas, estos rituales como
And you brought all
para
of this
equilibrar las cosas.
fresh meat to the barbecue as well.
We did. Something tells me things are not going to go quite as planned. Is there any art that we can get a good, better idea of what's going to happen at this festival?
I mean, if you're going to take the pessimistic approach, I can show you this, which purely hypothetical.
No,
Like to
pobrecito
believe
humano.
that the event is going to go well.
Well, it looks like there's definitely some training in these woods. Quite nice.
That's right. All right, well, Jimmy and I need to keep this caravan moving and learn a little bit more about the development of Midnight Hunt. But
Yeah.
Maris, thank you so much for your input.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Maris.
Take care.
Thanks.
Be safe in those woods.
Entonces hasta ahora tenemos la mecánica que te pone fichas temporales
That's your belly, right, Joe? You're
y el transformar el cementerio.
okay. Great.
Claro.
I'm picking up a scent this way, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Puedo leer algo por acá.
Very good directional sense. We are joined by creative director Doug Beyer and senior art director Taylor
Doug
Ingris.
Bayer,
How's it going,
Taylor,
guys?
Great. How are you guys?
Igbarson.
So, Maris talked to us a little bit about the world and story of Midnight Hunt, but I wanted to dive deeper.
That's right. Let's dive deeper.
Let's do it.
All right. We all know that on Innistrad, things are always pretty rough for the humans. They're kind
Las
of
cosas son
the
difíciles
low
para el
part of the
humano.
web, if you will.
A bummer for us humans.
Yeah. But this time during Midnight
pobrecito
Hunt,
por
things
nosotros.
are even scarier. The days are getting shorter. They're getting colder. The nights are getting
Repiten el
longer.
concepto de que
Whispers that
los días son más
maybe
cortos, la
we
noche
won't
más
even see
larga.
another sunrise.
Ever?
Ever. If nobody does anything.
Aquí me sale mostrando
we're
las
looking
tierras.
at a world
Y
where
vuelve a pausar el video.
this unnatural darkness
Lo
approaching
lo
the world.
pausé, Mario.
With it, it's bringing this
Se me volvió a correr un
weird
poco.
supernatural frost that's kind of falling over the whole world. You can see this
Están muy
frost
buenas
in
sí las
this
cartas, ¿eh?
cycle of dual lands.
Oh, two of my favorite words in
Dual
the
land?
world. Let's take a look. Oh, Oh, beautiful. Yeah, what's coming down out of the
Fastland a la
sky?
rápida,
Is that
creo,
that
¿no?
frost you're talking about?
Yeah, we're actually seeing some of the disruption with the current
Shipwreck
occupant
March.
Es que lo pausé y se fue toda la shit.
weirdness in
Ajá.
the day-night pattern.
Aliada.
That's this effect that you're seeing in the sky around the sun. And you
Son
can also see these
5 tierras aliadas.
borderless versions.
Something that's super
Y
fun
son
about the frost is because
Slowland.
it is Innistrad, so even the frost is pokey and dangerous.
Hay 10
Parece que
tierras.
sí, según lo que está
Hay
haciendo.
10 tierras.
Sí, el set completo.
Well, yes, if you like special
Qué cariñoso
lands,
de Wizard.
there's also the Showcase Eternal Night lands.
¿O no?
Take a look at these.
Oh wow. I love the black
Ahora
and
alto
white
alternativo.
artwork.
Es que
It's
mostraron los
very
títulos,
reminiscent
¿cachai?
of,
No vi
like,
la
old
habilidad
classic
de
horror
golpe.
movies that I stayed up late on the weekends watching when my parents weren't paying attention.
O nos podemos cachar al final.
Yeah,
Pero
gorgeous.
me da la impresión que eran solamente la aliada.
Moonlight, it kind of does take the color away from the world and
O una
adds that
mezcla.
bleakness a little bit.
Pero eran 5.
If you're really
Porque
digging those, Joe, you're
vi 2 veces la rojo-verde. No sé si esto me engañó de la vista.
We're gonna be able to see that treatment
Pero
on
es que
those creatures as
sale
well.
altera
First one up is
con un frame
Jadar,
distinto.
Ghoul Caller of Nephalia.
It's the
Uy,
decayed
está
keyword again.
bonito el
All
arte
about making
culiado
a
del
bunch of zombies.
showcase.
Ooh.
No, estoy viendo
Ah, la
Yadar,
raja
Go
del-
Caller
Looks
en
like
Nefalia.
this maybe dabbled in the dark arts.
Paso
Exacto.
final, si controla no
Control
criatura.
zombies.
I thought he was giving him a haircut, to be
Decayed.
honest, but...
No alcancé a leer.
La cuestión
Está muy rápido, te odio Wizard. ¿Por qué flashean las cartas? Las quiero leer.
Yeah, every good zombie needs a good barber.
Pinche
That's
wizard.
a quote I heard all the time growing up. And here's Jadar in the showcase.
Ahí está el
Eternal
arte
Night
alternativo de Yadar.
And I love the fact that you're able to see two versions.
está
of
muy
the same
bonito.
thing, especially 'cause this black and white version
Ah, si no
is
tienes
awesome. The
monos con
mask,
Decayed,
big doc.
pone un Decayed en juego.
It almost feels like it's the fairy tale version a little bit too. Like if
Exacto.
he told the story of this
Son
person,
2. Oh, es 2
you
maná.
might imagine the tongue coming out like
Entra
that. It looks
rápido.
like this much scarier, kind of ominous version.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Something cool about Innistrad is
Entonces
that
se van a
you can
venir
describe
los
the
lords
scariest
de
thing possible,
zombies, po.
and it's
Sí,
still
eso estaba
not
pensando en la
as
mañana.
scary as the
Va a estar
real
dentro.
thing that shows up at your doorstep.
Right.
But also
Estar
immediately
bastante
recognizable
cap-
to this particular
capaz que
set.
venga como un lord nuevo
Inspiration
de
is
cada
Eternal
tipo de
Night
criaturas, po.
storyline.
Sí,
Muy
siguiendo la tradición de
Con
Innistrad.
esa-
And this time around, Innistrad
como
introduces
fue-
into the day-night cycle being all jacked up and really wonky. So
No salió
the sun is
en el segundo, ¿no? Está el Lord de zombies, de espíritus, que da más
kinda the
uno a
opposite of the
todo.
moon, so we really wanted to think about what could be
Eran de 2 colores.
opposites in the artwork, and that led
Sí.
us to the inspiration of jumping back into old classic movies and movie posters, the black and white, and it really just helps it jump off of the card.
Yeah, wow, that is really cool.
When I noticed that with magic art, that you really do allow artists to then reimagine a character that maybe fans were aware of previously, and now you get to see them in a new way.
So, if you like werewolves,
Un
like
besito al lobo.
Arlen, who is our favorite werewolf planeswalker, she's pulled between the human
Ya la
side
mecánica
and
que
the
se
wolf
filtró
essence.
ayer. Yo me hice llevar la sorpresa recién, pero
Arlen, packs
repararon al hombre lobo.
and the player casts no spells during their own turn.
Daybone y
Next
Nightbone.
turn. And on the flip side, Arlen, the moon's fury.
Ahora está la transformación dependiendo si de día o de noche, ¿no?
It becomes day next turn.
Sí,
No
está
de la cantidad de hechizos
haciendo...
que se lance cada
Wolf
turno.
planeswalker,
En cada turno ahora es como del controlador, del jugador activo, depende de la transformación.
her wolf side, she's sort of
Exactamente.
called
Oh,
to, what
está
Tovolar is doing in this
bacán el
set,
arte
but she's also
alternativo
concerned about
del
the
showcase de
extinction
la
of humans on this
de la
world.
Lin. Esa va a estar hermosa.
Reaching out.
Todavía no la veo, todavía no la veo. ¿eh?
Bellísima la va.
She's concerned
Todavía no
that
la veo.
Bellísima, y vaya a cagarte.
disruption goes on, that the sun will never
Está en el
come up
futuro,
again,
Peter,
it's
por
gonna
la
be a
chucha.
whole deal. And
Mi internet
Arlen
es más veloz,
also
mi
comes
internet
in
es
this
más veloz.
Equinox frame, so that you can
Ahí
see
está el arte
her
alternativo.
and a bunch of werewolves and
Son como wipe al lado de la Harley.
That's fantastic.
Parece mi perro.
Something that is particularly exciting with Arlen on this one is
Hombre lobo, wipe.
En todo caso.
look closely, you can see this is sort of one of the
Igual anda
first
abajo mi
times
perro para que lo
we see
comparen.
a wolf kind of
Se
half
parece
in, half
caleta.
out of there.
No está bacán el
I also love
el frame que
this
tiene porque
El
te
frame,
muestra
sí.
la
that's such a
Está el día y la luna.
símbolo del sol y de la luna.
attempt to broaden out the visual
Oye, ¿esa
style
otra?
Magic captures.
¿Otra
You
arma?
can be a fan of this style,
Full
there's no stop
con-
that
Sí,
into
pues
it.
la
Sin border.
borderless.
There's all these different expressions of the visual excitement of Innistrad in different styles.
Right. So the Eternal Night frames show that darkness, and the Equinox frames show the brightness that could possibly occur. But I
Como
love
le
these
hizo
Equinox
el
frames. There's so much
Equinox.
flavor,
Ahí
and I
está.
love the small details in between them too.
Equinox.
From day to night, which you can really feel in the art, which is awesome.
Equinoccio.
sun in the corner,
¿Tiene que ver
then
con el
you
cambio de
get
estación
that
eso?
crescent moon there.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Don't
Sí,
look too hard,
creo que
moon,
sí.
right?
Hey, speaking of moon, I'm feeling a little itchy, Jimmy.
Como que me pica.
I'm gonna move this along.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. He's such a good actor, this guy. I love it. Okay, well, where were we? Right. Arlen, and you mentioned someone named Tovolar. Who's that?
Yeah, so with the growing, like, nights are getting longer and the cycle's all messed up, Arlen is becoming more and more concerned with sort of the strength of the Howl packs on Innistrad, and in particular, one leader called Tovolar.
Oh, hey! This is a
Tovolar,
werewolf
Dire Overlord.
So exciting.
Very powerful werewolf commander.
Yeah.
Now I notice Tovolar is holding something in his hand. He has a
Siempre
sword.
con nombre, un hombre lobo. Habla de combate robas, al comienzo,
He's sort of the first
mantenimiento.
werewolf to
Si controla 3
transition,
o más
still
hombres
holding
lobos,
on
se hace
to
de noche.
his beloved weapon. So he's the first
Transforma
wolf
cualquier
that'll be
número
roaming
de
around
hombres
Innistrad,
lobos que controlas.
swinging around a sword.
So he's not
Siempre que un hombre
full
lobo
beast now, he actually
tiene la misma
changes
habilidad y la
so
otra
that
parte no
he
alcanza a
can-
leerla.
Yeah, he's pretty unique in that sense that he can sort of maintain a little
De lo
bit
que
of his
caché, si
composure
tiene varios
even
hombres
when
lobos,
his humor is
transformación.
These werewolves do look a bit scarier than the ones I think we've seen in the past. Even the ones that were mixed with Eldrazi, these look very strong.
Something that is super, super cool and really special about werewolves on Innistrad is that we're so excited to introduce a new strain of werewolf called the Dire strain, which Tovolar is actually the leader of. And they
Dire
are
Overlord.
massive. Like, a Tovolar in his human form can stand head to head with a basic werewolf on Innistrad.
Ah, sí, la habilidad de la tierra, ¿te acordáis?
He's even bigger.
Que hace más X más 0.
Blue buckets, you
y
wouldn't wanna
arrollar.
run into one in a dark alley.
Había una tierra que hacía eso.
That's, definitely, for sure. Good thing they're on our side. So you created this day-bound, night-bound mechanic to mimic how the werewolves transform. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so transforming is a huge part of going back to Innistrad. Werewolves flipping back and forth from their human side to their werewolf side is something that people are familiar with. And this time around, especially with the new expressions of werewolves that we're bringing in, it was a good opportunity for us to really sort of highlight stories from your human side to your wolf side. So you'll see
Aquí controles de las
similar
tierras. Entra al
food,
campo de batalla
clothing,
girada, a no ser que tú
any
controles dos o
adornments
más
and wacky
tierras.
hairstyles transferring over to your wolf side.
Son como tierras lentas.
And then with the Dire strain, since they sort of are most comfortable in their skin
Sí,
as a wolf,
sí,
they
porque-
kind
algo
of
así, no sé si cabras no,
embody
no
that
sé,
in
hay
their
una
human
así.
form. So they intentionally wear larger jewelry, bigger, baggier clothing. So
Qué
kind of
brillo los
uncomfortable
lobos.
in their human skin, and when they wolf out, everything fits just perfectly.
Yeah, very smart. I love that you've done some research and talked to werewolves about issues that they've had, and then incorporated them into the card.
No, I'm just thinking about everything you've said today.
Me alegra que hayan conversado con hombres lobos, que le hayan preguntado los problemas que tienen para incorporarlos en las cartas, dice el loco.
Well, you want to see some more cards, Jimmy? Let's talk about some more cards.
Okay, sick. Let's do it.
Well, I mean, I know these werewolves seem intimidating, but that's okay because the humans have some stuff up their sleeves as well.
Claro, a pesar de que los hombres lobos son intimidantes, los humanos igual tienen algo bajo la manga.
A force of witches and warlocks. They're coming out of the
Y está la
woodwork.
bruja y los warlocks.
Ancient nature-worshipping coven of warlocks led by Catilda.
Ya,
And
como adoran
they
la
want to
naturaleza.
do something about this day-night disruption. They want to put a stop to it so that the world can be safe for humans again.
Right. And Avacyn's gone, right? So they need someone to look to. In
Recién
these dire
mencionaron a
times.
That's right. So in Avacyn's absence, they have turned their worship to the archangel Sigarda.
Ah, ahora adoran a Sigarda.
New angel,
Oh,
new
count me
Sigarda.
in.
Sigarda, está
Finally,
viva.
Non-werewolves.
She has this coven mechanic, very powerful card actually, which you can see there. The
Coven es
mechanic
como una reunión de
represents
brujas.
this connection, this pact that's between
Es un
the
ability
Dark
war.
Witches and their allies.
Si
the Harvest
controlas
Type.
tres o más humanos con
This
diferente
is
poder hacen
showing
algo.
how diverse
Y depende de la
groups of
carta lo que
creatures
se-
are all coming together to
lo
work
que haga.
against the werewolves and use their powers, their different powers, literally their different
Sí,
power toughnesses
las tres
to
hermanitas de los
be their
ángeles.
source of strength.
Ah, teamwork makes the dream work.
Bruna y
Right.
Gisela
Very cool.
se transformaron en el
Sigarda
horror
also
del
comes
Drazi.
in an eternal night frame.
Al parecer Sigarda pudo escapar.
Yeah, that's
Beautiful. I mean, I love that it's a close-up. You know, there's so much to look at in terms of the cards. Like each card is its own
Vuela,
work
rolla,
of art.
humanos que
There's so
controlan
much to
uno a uno.
explore in each one of
El
these
Coven no
images.
alcanzó el...
Speaking to my heart.
These are awesome sort of examples too, just bringing it back again of like allowing artists to sort of play around in the toolbox that we provide. You
Right.
can see in her Eternal Night version, she's got a lot more of like a
Y
flower
mira
crown
5
going
cartas de
on,
tu
sort of
mazo, se
bringing
revela
in
un
again
humano,
a lot
entre
more
ellos
of
lo
that
ponen en la
harvest
mano.
tide
Y todas las
behind
del
to her,
fondo.
sort of taking the flowers and everything that's happy and hopeful around this event.
And the floating candles too is a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Speaking of floating candles, if you want to, like, Taylor and I love us some floating candles. They're all over this world. They're all over
Velitas
this set.
flotando.
You couldn't get enough of it. As a
Bien en el
visual
mundo.
motif, seriously. But one of the characters that's really focused on the Harvesttide Festival is Lenore, Autumn Sovereign, who's kind of the elected queen
esta es la del
of
Commander.
this entire festival.
Oh, beautiful.
Leonore.
That pose is so cool. It looks like Lenore is just
Eso también se había
celebrating
filtrado
the
por la
Harvesttide
mecánica de
Festival.
Coven.
Yeah, she's a great example too of just how insane you can go with your costuming coming to the Harvesttide Festival.
Right.
Like, again, with the floaty candles, she's got those sort of assisting her with her dress and her clothes and her hair and all sorts of other things that she's got going on. You can really go all out and feel one with nature and really one with the warmth and the light that this event brings.
So is this it? Is Arlen really just up against this entire force by herself with just these warlocks and humans around?
No, so like we've been talking about, she is super concerned with the growing night for human safety. So
La
she
Arlene
goes
está como
and
heroína,
calls
igual
her-
cuida al humano.
Her friend, the Time Mage himself, to ferry. And he travels all the way over to Innistrad to lend a hand with all of his time magic powers. And
The
we actually
referee?
have his art here that we can
The
show
referee?
for you.
Love how the phases of the moon now
Yeah.
are shown where he's trying to manipulate the phases.
Toferi.
I love the way that
Intenta
shows
manipular
up
las
on
fases de la
card.
luna para que vuelvan a estar
Those are those happy
equilibradas.
moments where you can write certain things and
El
then
día y la
people
noche,
collaborate with on the
con
visual
su
side
magia
of things
temporal.
and just bring something special to it, and this is one in particular.
Very fitting planeswalker to slow down whatever's happening over
Vamos a
there.
volver a tener
To try.
12 artes de este weón.
Right,
O 13.
and Harvesttide is really not
El
just
nombre
a big
importante
party, it's
pa
actually
Innistrad.
a ritual. The hope is this ancient spell will be able to
Aquí
rectify
está
the
mostrando
day-night imbalance.
flashback.
The Dawnheart Coven are coming
te
to
digo cuando
the
llega ahí el
Celestis, which
flashback.
is this massive astronomical device in the Kessig Woods. They're putting the Harvesttide Festival there.
En el
so
bosque de
they can
Kessig
cast
está
this
un
ritual.
artefacto.
They've got Teferi's time magic trying to slow down that last sunset, and all this is leading up to the final piece, which is a sacred vessel called the Moon Silver Key, which we can see here in the card Secrets of the Key.
Y ahora
Very
recién
cool.
salió
That's them
Secrets of the
working
Key.
together, but more importantly, we have two mechanics
Investigar,
on here we're
volvió a
really excited
investigar,
about.
qué bacán.
Investigate, as well
Ahora que yo
as
estoy haciendo el
Flashback,
Lunis
which is an Innistrad
en
classic.
Commander.
Look at this art. They're clearly
Si fuera solo el cementerio, investiga 2 con
but right
flashback.
there, maybe they're gonna get it.
Is there
El
anything
secreto de la
else
llave
that
estaba
you
Arlene con
want or
Periphery.
can tell us about the making of this set?
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute blast to work on, and so excited for it to finally like come to life and people to grab onto it and blast open packs. It was great to visit a beloved fan favorite
Igual lo
plane,
es bacán
and
que
some
lograron
of our
meterle más
favorite
historia
planes
al
as well.
plano, porque no solamente
We
sean
got
los
to bring
monstruos.
some hope and some warmth to it that Innistrad doesn't usually get to see, and we also
Claro,
get to bring on
es
some more good old
como
scary bits
profundizar
that
más-
both the humans and
Más el
human
lore de
nature.
Innistrad.
Being super honest and really a little bit selfish. Werewolves are my favorite monster of all time.
O sea,
and I
como
was just
que hay un progreso,
super
¿cachai?
excited
Que
to make some really big ones.
no necesariamente un Innistrad 2.0, ya vamos a copiar flashback, vamos a meter nombres
All
lobos,
these werewolf lovers.
sino que igual lo están adornando como
Okay,
de forma
cool.
interesante.
All
¿no?
right, so
Yay.
I think I'm going to speak for a lot of people out there that want to know.
Son todas las
did
consecuencias de la
Teferi
segunda
and
visita
Arlen ever
a
find
Innistrad.
the Moon Silver Key in time?
Well, I can't tell you the whole story quite yet, but if you are interested in more of the tale, there's going to be a Midnight Hunt web fiction coming out very soon.
Oh, exciting. That's great.
Aquí vamos a agarrar a Liz, que nos explique la historia cuando a medida que vaya
All right,
saliendo.
well, that just about wraps up our first look at Midnight Hunt. Jimmy, what'd you think?
Oh,
It
eso
all
fue.
looks incredible.
Botley.
There's so much to look forward to with
Botley.
this set, and check it out.
Oye, al final, ¿cuántas tierras eran,
Just in time,
cachaste?
a few minutes before the sun sets, and you're gonna turn into a werewolf.
Te digo al tiro, que eso estoy tratando de averiguar,
All right,
que
we
estoy
better wrap
moviéndome.
this up.
Yeah, we better because you're definitely not messing with me, right?
Según yo eran 5.
So you thought I was messing with you?
Y lo que vimos era el alternativo, pero íbamos a confirmar después.
Oh, really?
Yeah, professional messer over here.
Hey, look, I'm as curious as anybody if Joe's going to turn into a werewolf, but I kind of got to go, so
Fine.
Fine.